a skill for skill, ability for ability, I think if he's not the best of all time, it's him and Fedor. You know, and then you always have to mention Verdum, because even though Stipe knocked Verdum out in the first round, Verdum has submitted the best of the best. He submitted Minotauro, he submitted Fedor, he submitted Cain. I mean, what the fuck?
Yep.
I mean, that guy is just Verdum's record. If you just look at
who he's fought,
yeah. He's the best.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
and for how long he's been around.
But it's but when did he beat those guys? Like, when did he beat those guys? Did he beat those, like when he beat Fedor? Fedor was as close to his prime as you can get. When, you know, like, it's hard to say. Like, the Brett Rogers fight, a lot of people were saying he wasn't as focused for the Brett Rogers fight, but he still knocked him out with one punch. Remember that crazy fucking KO?
Anytime. You got to be ready for Fedor one punch. Yeah.
But Verdum handled him, you know, on the ground and submitted him. You know, I would have loved to have seen what it was like in Pride if he could fight him when Fedor was at his peak, like back when he beat Minotauro.
Yeah.
But Verdum, you know, he's overlooked in that argument of who's the best. And in terms of, like, accomplishments as a UFC fighter, well, it's Stipe, because Stipe is the only guy to defend the title 4 times, and it really kind of bums me out that he's out of the conversation right now.
Yeah.
You don't hear about a Stipe fight.
He's like which I feel like he should get more attention for this. He's just a normal guy. Like, he has a full-time job where he's a firefighter. Yeah. Like, I feel like more people should resonate with him because of that.
Yeah.
But they don't.
He's a fucking great guy,
I feel like
too.
you have to kind of be an asshole to get attention these days.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if he had beaten DC and, you know, I mean, he beat Francis, that was a big fight, because Francis came into that fight with a lot of hype. And
after that Overeem knockout.
Yeah. Stipe fought like a fucking champion. Yep. He really fought like a champion.
Smart.
And he showed Francis. And look, Francis fought after that. He was not the same thing.
No.
When he fought after that and he fought Derek Lewis, you could see he didn't
want to throw anything.
Right. He was still fucked up from that last fight.
Yeah.
And he admitted it, to his credit. You know, he bounced back with the Curtis Blades fight and looked fantastic.
Which is a big one for him, because Blades is an awesome wrestler.
Exactly.
Blades is a very athletic wrestler.
He's huge. Yeah. He's big. He's fast. He's powerful. And, you know, and that's twice Francis has beaten him. Twice he stopped him. That was his first UFC fight. So he stopped him then, and he stopped him in this one as well. So coming into this fight with Cain, you know, there's a lot of questions. We haven't seen Cain in 2 years, right? It's been about 2 years.
Yeah, it may be even longer.
Let's say, when was the last time Cain Velasquez fought?
A long time.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think it might be 3 years.
It's been a while.
Crazy.
I know.
But when he was at the top of the food chain, when Cain was at the top, he would put a fucking storm on these people that was just like 100-year storm that would never end. It's like, how does this guy have this kind of endurance?
And to see Verdum to do it to him in Mexico City was crazy. I thought it was going to be the other way around.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Just see Cain tired.
Yeah.
So here we go. 2016. Yep, July 9th. So 2.5 years.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. And that was Travis Brown, which is just a phenomenal beating. And that was UFC 200. Yeah. And they did the Junior Dos Santos one.
And the fight before that was a year. You know, so he's like,
Fabricio,
it's not like he's been active.
Well, he had shoulder surgery.
And then 2013, look at those gaps.
Yep.
Dang.
2-year gaps.
Yep.
2-year gaps, 1 year, 2 year again.
That's rough, man.
Yeah, it is. Rough. It is rough.
Especially when this is your job and how you get paid.
Fuck yeah.
You know?
Right? Yeah.
They're lucky he's a heavyweight and they get taken care of a little more, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I wonder how much you could fix all that stuff that's going on in the spine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's one thing if a guy gets a knee, you know, he's got ACL or something like that, you know that you can come back from that. That's 100% possible. But back stuff is weird. It seems like once things start going, it's like like a car. You know, once a ball joint blows out and the axle starts grinding, and you're like, oh, Jesus. It's like a bunch of shit's going to go wrong.
Something that's like your core.
Yeah.
You know?
But at his best, man, he was fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Because I never saw a heavyweight with that kind of endurance.
Man, I remember being so scared of Cain Velasquez when I was, I think I talked about this last time on your podcast, when I was a kid wrestling in college, because I was like this tiny ass little white boy wrestler, and Cain would walk around with just his singlet straps on and shorts, and he had brown pride tattooed across his chest. He's just huge heavyweight wrestling D1 for ASU. I was just like so scared of that guy. I was like, damn, look at that guy, man. Just walking around like wanting to probably rip my head off, has brown pride tattooed on his chest, just wearing just his singlet straps, just huge. It's funny.
Yeah.
I remember him forever, man.
Well, him and DC having that kind of a relationship is such a unique situation for the two fighters that they have, another elite guy that's their size, and they just smash each other left and right and work with each other.
That's what I try to create wherever I go, and that's what we're doing in Southern California. I know Juan Archuleta, Aaron Picos, Cub Swansons. We're trying to build a room of smaller guys that we can, but we don't want to kill each other, right? And that's something that I've always had to control myself. I've always gone really hard, and something I've had to learn to control. But having that room full of killers, so that when we go to wrestling practice, like, you don't know if you're gonna have a good practice. You might be getting beat up on that day, and you go home and be all pissed off, like, shit, I had a bad practice. I got taken down with this, but that's what makes you better for the next practice. If you just go to practice and beat up on everyone every day, you're never gonna know what you need to change or what you need to get better at. So I think that's why Cain and DC have gotten so good, so quick at MMA, they had each other to build off of. And
if you can survive it.
Yeah.
If you survive it, yeah. And like the knock on AKA, some people said they train too hard because they're always injured, but. Look at the amount of champions they produced.
Yes.
Look at the amount of fucking killers that have come out of there. Luke Rockhold, DC, Cain, Khabib. I mean, get the fuck out of here. That place is a den of assassins.
Yeah, if you can survive it, right?
Yeah.
That's perfect. I mean,
that's the only way, man.
I
mean,
agree.
look, it's not good to spar full clip like old school Lions Den days where they used to beat the shit out of each other, or the Militich days. I mean, nobody knew anything back then. They didn't know the consequences. They didn't know what it's like.